Hi everyone, I want to show you how to make a crystal grid. Now the reason I'm doing that tonight is because it's a full moon and it's a great opportunity to harness the power of the moon and to use that in your grid. So the moon to me is about protection, and I would like to bring protection into my life in the next month. And so the moon's been hanging there for millions of years, watching over the earth, and in some ways protecting us, protecting the earth. So that's sort of motivation for me, if you like, to do this crystal grid. So I'm going to show you what I've got here, so you won't be looking at my face anymore, putting you off. So the place to start is an intention. Energy follows intention, so you need to have an intention for your crystal grid. So I've written mine out earlier. There it is there, if you can see it. So yeah, that's my intention. Now the important thing with an intention is that you do it in the present tense. You must you must have it in the present tense. So don't write it in the past, or something you wanted in the past, or something that you want in the future. Keep it in the present tense, so as if it is already working, because you're making a grid that's going to keep working over a period of time. So you want it to be working in the present moment. So the opening line of my intention is, I am sleeping deeply. As if it's happening, as if I'm already got over my sleep problems and the grid is working to help me sleep better. But it can be for whatever you want to do. So it's really whatever you want to manifest. Now, I'm going to energize and keep this grid working in this cycle of the moon. So that's going to be for the next 28 days. And then maybe I'll make another grid. You could keep it going for longer. I prefer to have them to work for shorter periods of time. And actually, I like the cycle of the moon, because manifesting something for 4 weeks, for me, seems about the right amount of time. It's a realistic amount of time. That's for me personally. You can do it for longer if you want, or you can do it for a week if there's something specific coming up in your life. Just think about the time scale. Once you've got your intention written out, then have a think about geometry, because geometry holds energy. So I'm cheating a little bit, because I bought this the last time I went to Avebury, and it really caught my eye as a little, grid that I can use, and that's got the phases of the moon on it. But really, you can use anything. You could get a shape like that. You could put it on paper. You could put something on some cloth or a piece of wood, or something that will hold energy, rather than just put it on the surface. You can do that, but it's better if you don't. It's better if it's actually on something. So think about the geometry. Now this is going to be a circular grid, but it can be any shape you like, really. So obviously it's connecting to the moon. The moon goes in a cycle around the earth, hence a circular grid. But if you were having a grid for something else, it might be a square grid, or you might have a star shape or a spiral. See what you're drawn to. That's really the answer there. Next thing to do is to choose your crystals. So I'm going for my main crystal for this particular grid. I'm going to show you there, is moldavite. Now, moldavite's a tektite. It comes from a meteorite that crashed in Czechoslovakia. I think that's the only place it comes from that I'm aware of. And I've chosen that because this grid is about the moon and the phase of the moon, and I want a crystal that resonates with something celestial. So it makes sense to me to use a crystal that's come from outer space. So that's why I've chosen moldavite. Now, the properties of moldavite I've done a little bit of research on, and one of the things that resonated with me is that moldavite helps you to see more clearly, and it has this sort of interconnectedness property. Very much works with the upper chakras as well. So when I was researching, these things were coming out, and I was writing these words down and thought, yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. That connects to my intention. So that's about matching the energy of your crystal to what your intention is. My main crystal, which is going to go in the middle, is this piece of citrine. And the reason that's going to go there, and I'm going to build the grid around it. So citrine is a wonderful crystal. It's so great. It's so pure. It doesn't need cleansing, which is one of the reasons I really like it. It's very good for dissipating negative energy, and that's something I really feel. I've got lots of negative energy around me at the moment, and I want to, use this grid to help get rid of that negative energy. It also works very well with the solar plexus. Now, my solar plexus recently has been, emotionally out of balance, and I've had loads of churning going on in my stomach. So yes, I'd like citrine to calm that down and dispense the fear that I might have built up. And it also, citrine works well with quartz, which is another crystal I've got here, and it has a healing property when it works with quartz on your digestive system. I've also got carnelian, which I use a lot. I love carnelian. It's a polished jasper, and it's a beautiful crystal. I love it, and so I want to have that. That's for my root chakra. And I've got smoky quartz again, because quartz is so good at working with moldavite and with citrine. So I've got another one there, and I've also got aventurine. So the aventurine works with the heart chakra. It's very good at balancing the heart chakra. And then finally, I've got aquamarine, which I'm going to place around my grid. So it won't actually go on this piece of slate here. It's going to go around it. That will contain the energy of the crystal grid. So I'm using aquamarine because it's very much a crystal about flowing energy. Aqua, it's a water crystal. It's it's a crystal that resonates with water and how water flows, and so it's very in an energetic sense. That's what it does. It helps energy to flow, and it also works for the throat chakra. And you might be able to hear I'm a little bit croaky doing this, so I do want to work with my throat chakra. So you choose your crystals, and in line with what your intention is. So the layout, well, if you've got a geometry in mind, then do your layout. So obviously I've got my thing here, so I'm going to use my moldavite. It's going to go on 2 places on the crystal grid. I'm going to start off with like a little star shape, then I'm going to put the aventurine in. It's so simple on this. I'm almost cheating, really. But take some time. I'm just doing this quickly to show you, and I'm not going to put all the pieces on. Otherwise the video would be too long and you'll all get bored. But I use these bits of quartz to connect the grid together, and that's quite important. There's a bit of connectivity going on, that the crystals work with each other. And then I'll place around it, I've got some green and blue aquamarine, so I'll build all around it in a nice pretty shape. And I'll take my time doing this. Once I finish this video, the moon's already out, so I want to get it going. So I'll go and build it, but I'll do it carefully and with thought and mindfully. Once you've got that shape sorted out, then it's a good idea to cleanse it. Now I use a little bit of sand, but also intention is useful to cleanse your crystals once you've got them in. You can either cleanse them, then lay them out, or lay them out and then cleanse them. It's entirely up to you. But cleansing is very important, particularly at the beginning when you're making your grid. You want to make sure your crystals are cleansed, and then they're going to work in line with your intention. So, I always use intention, and sand is very good. So I cleanse these crystals of any negative, discordant, or inappropriate energy. I ask they only work for love and light, the highest good of all, and I tune these crystals to work with my intention. I would actually then go on to say what the intention is. So that's cleansing them, and then I'll charge this grid. So I will say my intention. I'll have my hands quite close, and I'm going to focus my energy on charging the grid, and I will ask for guidance, and I will ask to bring my energy to charge this crystal grid. Now, I will take some time doing that normally until I feel, or I get a sign, or I get a feeling that the crystal grid has been charged. Almost there. The next stage is to energize it. Now, I use my pendulum to energize. So I swing the pendulum and I'll ask the pendulum to energize the crystal grid. Now, this can be quite fun. If some of you have worked with pendulums, it will actually start working its way around the shape of the crystal grid. Now, I'm just doing this to kind of show you what to do, but it is actually doing it. So they are mysterious things, pendulums. Wonderful to work with. If you work with crystals, you need a pendulum, really. It's as simple as that. But if you haven't got one, to energize it, then you can just use intention if you wish, or you can kind of just, use your body, use your hands over it to energize it, and then it's ready to be brought into action. Now, where you put it in your home is very important. I will actually build this grid again, and I'll do it on the windowsill because I want the moonlight to hit it during the night. So it'll keep it really fresh, really energized, and it'll make it work, as strongly as possible. It will also get a bit of sunlight during the day. So if it's a cloudy night but a sunny day, that means the crystals are still going to get charged. I will leave it in a place that I regularly see, so I can make sure I come back to it and I look at the grid. I check that it's got my energy in it. I'll maybe even re-energize it or recharge it once a week during the next month, just to make sure it's still strongly working for me. But I'm going to know if it needs a bit of extra powering up or maintenance because this grid's going to be connected to my sleeping. So if I'm not sleeping, I'll know to come back and charge the grid. But I have every confidence that it works. I've done these grids many times to manifest things, and I find them incredibly powerful tools and very useful. And it's a very nice way to use a crystal collection. Don't worry if you haven't got these things to make your grid. They're very useful, these little long bits, and they're not too expensive to buy. But you don't have to have them. If you've just got a load of tumbled crystals, just make a grid with those. Use a simple circular pattern or a spiral or a triangle or a square. It's really the intention that matters and what you want to manifest. I hope that's useful, and I hope you can use the power of the moon. If you're not doing it on the new moon, do it on the full moon, or pick an auspicious day, or just do it. It doesn't have to link to anything particular to get your grid going, but maybe think about making it work for you over a period of time. Great. Thanks for watching, and I'll be back and do some more videos for you soon.